Thank you very much. Guten Morgen. I only know that word. And I'm really humbled and very proud and honored to be here at the Dutch school. Well, about the photo on the 16th of June, 1976.
June 16th is an important day in the history of South Africa. Youthday, as it is popularly known, is a day on which South Africans honor fallen heroes. Mainly the youth ambushed by the apartheid regime's police in Soweto on the 16th of June 1976. On this day, black students protested against discrimination and an order requiring black students to be taught in Afrikaans, a language they associated most closely with apartheid.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
It was thoroughly planned. You know, we were told in 1975 that things are going to change in the new year. But you know how students are like. We'll see when the time comes. Yes, the new year came and we're very excited. We just summed everything up. Whatever news you are going to be told at schools, obviously is something exciting. It's New Year. Yes, we went to our different schools and we were thoroughly explained that the syllabus has changed. That means already that you are going to be taught in the medium of Afrikaans, subjects like mathematics, biology, physical science. You know, there and then there was disruption. Why should we learn in our precious language? Where in this planet are we really going to speak Afrikaans besides South Africa and Namibia? Well, some thought maybe in Germany or Sweden, but at the end of it all, we really had to come up with plans. Well, some thought we can just write a memorandum and hand it over to the Department of Education. But some said, hey, wait, by the way, we need to keep this as a secret. If not, we should be discreet. So what now? Well, the last option was to approach high school students, of which there were those subtle political organizations like Black Consciousness, South African Student Movement, South African Students Organizations. Even though we went days later, because we're doubtful and pulling one another. And we're told that, well, we know about the situation. We are still trying to find an amicable way to resolve the matter. With us, we wanted things to happen speedily before we could reach the month of June. Well, we had to wait. While waiting, some students started to moan and groan like, this is really taking long. It's best if you go back to the drawing board. We've got better plans now. Well, it was too late. All we had to do was to be patient and wait for the results. On the 13th of June, that was the final straw. With the spread of mouth, we're told that on the 16th of June, we'll be demonstrating around Soweto. We were very excited, but it was also emphasized that we must make sure we don't tell our parents. Oh, that was scary. But anyway, we just said we'll go with the flow. So yes, the day of the 16th of June came. Already we had our placards with messages on, away with Africans, to hell with Africans. Actually, there wasn't much that we can write. So most of the placards were repeating themselves. On the very same day as I was walking to my school, I saw students from other schools in groups, so you couldn't tell whether they were excited or afraid, even when I got to my school. It was time for assemblies of which we'd hold every day. We wouldn't start a class without going to the assembly. It was normal. As usual, we sang, and while we were praying, there was this disturbing sound like a big aeroplane just on top of our heads. Obviously, it was disturbing. And I realized that even when your eyes are closed, you can still investigate. Can you? Can you? Serious? Serious? Okay, yes. By listening, hearing, and sound. So at the assemblies, there was this sequence where they would say, short ones in the front and tall ones at the back. And usually teachers concentrate at the back rather than in the front. So I was always in the front, and I loved it to bits. In a way, I felt special. So I just told myself, well, why not take advantage of being short and investigate? So I just went like, and actually the sound came from one of the nominated school students from Morris Isaacson High School. They were singing and chanting, proceeding through our school gate. We just pretended as if we don't really know what's going on, because my principal was very cheeky and we were so afraid of him, even neighboring schools. So he just left us at the assemblies and approached those students. I heard him say, my children are not going anywhere. But one student said, Father, you had your chance. This is our chance. Hearing that, it was like, ooh, what a relief. So we just took our school bags and put them nice on the veranda. Some just threw them there. And those who had placards, they just pulled out the placards and we followed the procession. Yes, we went from location to location collecting students. Our aim was to go to an historical area which is called Orlando West. That is the only location in Soweto where you'd find most of our prominent leaders, like our former president, Mr. Mandela, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, the founder of Pan-African Congress, Zephaniah Mutuping, and Walter Sisulu. In a way, we knew that our leaders might rot or die in jail, but the struggle still continues. So we chose the school in Vilakazi Street, the famous street around the whole world through, and the school is called Orlando West High. So upon arrival, already police were there with dogs and batons. So we just ignored the police. We kept on singing. And later, our leaders told us that other schools are on the way. We can just hang around waiting for those schools. We were so excited. Imagine, we came from different parts of Soweto and we have never encountered any problems. Already felt like, oh, this is cool. It looks like things are going our way. While waiting with excitement, all of a sudden, there was a shot. And the turnout was plus minus 20,000, believe it or not. So we ran amok in confusion, running for cover, dashing into other people's homes, and it was so scary and confusing. Remember, we never told our parents, and when that was happening, well, it was something else. I'll just call that scene hide and seek. As soon as you hear the shot, we'll go into hiding, and when it's calm, we'll emerge back to the pavement. During that hide and seek, I spotted my younger brother on the opposite side of the pavement. I became restless. I knew he was not supposed to be there. He was too young to understand what was really going on. But still, I could not just ignore his presence. So I decided that I will call him, but I will use his cultural name, which was Zolile. Zolile means calmness. So I called out his name. He quickly looked around. You could see that he heard that somebody called out his name. And when he looked from where I was, I just waved and he came closer smiling. I just said to him, it seems as if things are getting out of hand. I'll make sure we get home, we'll be okay. Well, I was just saying that, trying to be brave and bold. I was very scared. So while I continued talking to him, there was another shot, so we had to go back into hiding. Unfortunately, we went two separate ways. When it's calm, as I emerged back to the pavement, he was nowhere to be seen. Yes, I looked around, my eyes roving, thinking I might spot him again. But not very far from where I was, like something happened there, and already students were busy gathering the scene. So I sort of had two minds, whether I should go and investigate or stay. Eventually, I chose to stay, because I thought he might come around looking for me and we are going to miss one another. But I was very anxious to know what was happening there. I had to stay. Yes, my eyes were roving and at the same time trying to think that if he comes around, we can take any street. If not, we should wait for other students to be in a group of 5 or 6. Then we can hit the road. I don't know. Maybe because my mind was wandering and I was also confused, I just saw a man coming from nowhere running towards me. As that man passed me, my eyes followed him, and actually he was focusing at that crowd where students were gathered. When he got there, you could see that he was making way, pushing these other students. And it also seemed like he was struggling or trying to get something from these other student hands. As he lifted, yes, I could see it's a body frame. As he lifted for the second time, the first thing that I spotted, it was my brother's shoes. So I tried running to the scene. Already they were on their way, running towards me. I joined them, and as we continue running, I was asking this man, who are you? This is my brother, I've been looking for him. Where are you taking him? The man just kept on running. Then I looked at my brother. I saw blood coming from the side of the mouth. I panicked. Who are you? Can't you see my brother's hurt? Where are you taking him? He never said anything. A car just stopped in front of us, and one lady jumped out of the car, introduces herself as a journalist and said she can help us. As that man was about to put my brother in the car, he said, "Oh, he's dead." Hearing that, I was sort of like torn into two. I could see myself on the other end crying desperation. To me, it was like, this is not real. It can't be happening. The next moment, I was at the clinic, and the clinic looked very strange, like it has been long deserted. But I knew there were people there. So I had to bang, knock, windows, crying out for help. And one white doctor came out. He took my brother out of the car, inside the clinic, and he said to me there was nothing more that he could do. I understood him very well. Yes, I stood there, trying to find myself. Then I decided, let me just go next to the window inside the clinic. And as I looked through the window, outside there, it was another chapter. In fact, students were retaliating. Like everywhere else in the morning, we have delivery vans for bread, milk. Even some of our white colleagues used to work in Soweto as teachers, administrators, you name them, and they were caught in the act. In amusement, while I was watching the storming of the delivery vans, already some students have looted those vans, their loaves of bread in their hands. From the other side of the window, a van came rolling down like it was stoned 3 blocks away from the Hector Peterson Museum, and on the side of the door there was an abbreviation of Western Board Administration. That means that car belonged to the government, and at that moment anything that belongs to the government was destroyed in any form. Yes, that car lost control and swerved to where most of the students were. When that man was pulled out of the car, he was a white man. Each and everything that could kill a human being was used on him. You name them: knives, spades, stones, anything. I just froze. Then I thought, now my mind is really playing with me. It was unbelievable. Days later, we heard that the very same man who was killed, it was Dr. Van Halstein, who was assigned in Soweto as a social worker, and so many people knew him. That was sad. But all those who died did not die in vain. As people, we managed to take out good from bad, to live by today, to shape ourselves and our country. Thank you very much. If you have questions.
So is there any questions you would like to ask now? I know that you have prepared some questions, but maybe you have some questions you just come to your mind, and maybe you'd like to pick the people. Yeah? Okay?
David, kommt ihr bitte nach vorne hier zum Mikrofon.
So you told us that that you guys were not allowed to tell your parents. When your parents found out that your brother died, how did they react?
Okay. Not only my parents, most of the parents were like, oh, who do you think you, what did you think you are, and who said you can face the apartheid regime? You know, I was very lucky because while I was at the clinic, you know, some ladies came around, they actually asked if they could accompany me home. You know, I had to say yes. I was really out of form. So we went to my granny's home, and those ladies are the ones who told my granny what happened. But now we had a bigger problem. How do we tell my parents, of which they were staying 4 locations away from my granny? And I said to my granny, you know, it's best to call neighbors to give them a message. So around about 6:30, already neighbors and other people flooded my granny's home with the newspaper, asking if it was me and who are these other people. I just denied everything. Me, picture, it did not make sense. You know, because that lady said she's a journalist and she never had a camera. So while on that, my mother approached us, and as she was greeting, you know, neighbors were like shying away from her. So she decided that I should go inside the house, and I followed her. And my granny did not waste any time. She bluntly told my mother that your son was killed. And I think you have heard the news that students were protesting. So some of them have been wounded, arrested, and some of them have been wounded. And I mean killed. You know, my mother did not react or show any emotions, you know. I was very, very worried. But well, we had to give her space. But I think after 2-3 days, I was very, very worried, you know. So I had to ask her, you know, like, are you okay? So how do you feel? What is in your mind? You know, she just said, well, I'm very thankful that you managed to see your brother while he was alive and after he died. Considering that some parents, they don't know what happened to their children. At least I was not blamed, so that gave me courage. Okay.
Okay, so of course Youthday has like a big impact for us and for the future that we live in today. But like, what are your feelings when you see that picture? Do you feel powerful because of the impact, or do you feel more sad towards your brother's death?
Okay. You know, when I see the picture then, it used to break me in pieces. I couldn't really look at the picture. But you know, I just told myself, well, I cannot live like this. If this is a second chance for me to live, let me actually confront the picture, okay? It was not easy, but I had to, you know, to find answers, solutions, because you only live once, okay? So I had to challenge the picture. So I looked at the picture. No, it was very hard, but I had to. So I looked at the picture, you know, my mind was like, at some point I'd look at it and look the other way, but something just came up from my mind, okay? Like, you can just say, you know those people in the picture. If not, you have read a book or seen a movie or whatever, but you are not part and parcel of the picture. But I actually had to work on that. It was not easy. But also that gave me courage. You know, like today, I am humbled and very honored to still talk about the day and also looking at the picture. It actually encourages me more. Know that I was actually given a second chance so that I can relive my life and still talking about the picture. Any more questions?
Has your opinion changed on the Afrikaans language? Has your opinion changed on the Afrikaans language?
Well, no, Afrikaans was not as bad as that, It's only that we just felt like it's our oppressor's language. Why? Yes, we know we are oppressed, but why should we learn with Afrikaans? In actual fact, we didn't even understand what is actually Afrikaans, the name itself. And what I know about Afrikaans is that when you mix Afrikaans with other cultural languages, tops, it's tops. Unlike, say, very Afrikaans, A+ Afrikaans, To us it was like they should have at least introduced Fanagalo, if not, leave us with that street language, then for me it would go better. And remember, we had a very, very big problem. When teachers were trained, most of them, they never took Afrikaans as a subject, they just felt like we are going to teach these other languages. So we really struggled. But with Afrikaans, for me, and say Tabru, Wuzay, it's fine, But that A+ Afrikaans, I think it was going to be tough for us. So for me, Afrikaans is just like a street language, and it's number one. Maybe they should have introduced that rather than the A+ one. Then we'll be talking, then we'll be having fun. But well, it's a language and we cannot do anything about it. We cannot do anything about it. I think the only thing is that we felt like, because they are oppressors, why should they choose for us what to do and what not to do? That was the main problem. And remember, we did Afrikaans at school as a subject, twice a week, like our different cultural languages. So English was taught as the main subject. We didn't have a problem. But I think the enforcement of learning those critical subjects in Afrikaans, that caused a spark. Like mathematics, biology, and physical science. Even in English, it's a little bit hard. So that made us say that, if we don't take a stand now and also paving way for generations to come, that means we are doomed. Any more questions?
So basically, if you've watched the movie Sarafina, which is based on what happened on Youthday, do you think it's a good interpretation of what really happened?
In actual fact, it's a depiction of what was happening. Yeah, it's a depiction of what was happening, but at least it gives people, some light. This and this unfolded. Even though the music there was very different. If you know our culture, most of the time in Africa, Tanzania, so basically they had to act something as the youth. They had to act it in a different way, even if you can see how it's unfolds, how people were being harassed, how people's human rights were violated. So it's a depiction of what was happening on the day. And if you have listened to, like when I said my story, if you think what I've said, to me it's like it was a script that was written down. It only needed actors. Unfortunately, it had to be real. Did you notice that? It's like it's a script, but we had to act it. Unfortunately, it has to be real. But with Sarafina, I know the youth of today, whenever we talk about the 16th of June, all it comes to the mind, Sarafina, maybe because of the dance, they love the dance, so there's nothing we can do about it, but at least that's a depiction of what was happening on the day. Yeah, we cannot get angry about that. It's another change. Sarafina showed that from the pain, people can still be happy by doing whatever they're doing with music, because music soothes one's heart. Yeah. Any more questions? Maybe we need the drummers and dance.
I can put the questions that you've also from Friday. I'm gonna put them there, and you can just go to the microphone and pick one and ask. Okay?
Okay.
So please come forward and ask them.
Hello.
What was your initial reaction when you found out that Youthday became a public holiday? Well, this day became a public holiday.
Public holiday?
Yeah.
Okay. We never thought going out there in the street of Soweto protesting and conveying the message, would that become a history? Okay? We just felt like, we are the youth, let's shake up the government. Because in actual fact, the demonstration was to convey the message, and that was it. We never thought of being part of the history or changing people's lives. But after that, only then we realized, even though blood was shed, but that brought a huge change in South Africa. So when the 16th of June was named Youthday, I don't want to tell a lie. I don't want to tell a lie. I was very proud, because that will be a constant reminder to generational youth that on this day, this and this and this happened. So they must actually hold on to that so that it will change their lives. So for me, I'm very, very honored about the Youthday. Even though the way we celebrate or commemorate the day is a little bit awkward, So I think the youth, they think they should celebrate the life of those who died. Some feel both commemoration and celebration. But even if we celebrate, I think it should be in a respectful way. Not to say people should sit at the corner and thinking that others will feel sorry for them, but it should be in a respectful way, because yourselves, you still have to teach your children about what happened on the 16th of June. So the more you practice in a respectful way, the better. Unlike now, when you go to Soweto, you find students are drunk in a school uniform, so it doesn't reflect quite right, Why drink on the day? It's not a party, even though they say they are celebrating the day. Maybe that should change. It should be strictly commemoration, unlike celebrating, because obviously when you celebrate, you will go on a drinking spree, having parties and loud music. So maybe that should change, but well, it's how I see it, but some people think differently.
How was it to go to school as a black person at this time?
Okay, during the apartheid era, as a child or youngster, youth, it was very fulfilling. And during that time, our parents, our grandparents were very, very strict. Yes, we were based in Soweto, but most of the things we had to do right. By 8 o'clock, you should be at school. You would never find a school kid by 8 o'clock in the street of Soweto. Never. Never. By 8, everybody's in the classroom. Our parents were strict. The government was strict. No one should be loitering around in the street. Whether you are a scholar or somebody who's working, everything was on par. Everybody would make sure they don't want to get caught by the police. Even if you were walking around, doing nothing, you would be asked. You would be asked, is there nothing that you can do? Are you not working? If you say I'm not working, and then what do you do? So during that time, to me, it was like, this is good. Even though we were oppressed, but to conduct ourselves in an appropriate manner, that was very, very important. Very, very important. So even the parents would always tell you, when you are sick, your parents should go at school. If they are working, they'll make a note and give maybe somebody who goes to school with you, and they give it to the teacher. And after school, the teacher will come by. It's not just a letter. After school, the teacher will come and see if you're okay or not. If you lie, hey, I'm sick, and you're not even sick, you're going around, always the teacher will make sure that they come to your homestead. Because they knew that most of the parents that were working by 5:30, they are back from work. So they'll come to your homestead. If you're lying, I will see to finish. But everything was strict. So for me, it was good. It actually molded us to be where we are today. No wonder we did not even tell our parents about the 16th of June. Obviously, when we wake up, we'd find police and soldiers in schools. So we made sure it's a hush-hush and we keep quiet. No wonder that they were successful. Yeah, we were afraid. We were afraid because we were oppressed. And we did not want our parents to suffer because of us. So no wonder everything you had to listen, whether you like it or not. Because when police come to homestead because we did this and this, in our community, that was a shame. So that kept us calm and down because we did not want to actually disappoint your family. That's why. Anyone with a question?
I mean, no disrespect in asking, but why do you do interviews like this?
Okay. In actual fact, for me, it's like, it's a teaching, and whatever I say to people, like doing these interviews or just talking about the day, actually gives me a great pleasure. If you were in my shoes, would you really stand in front of people, talk about the day, what unfolded, because it's all about pain, trauma, and suffering. Most of the people would just say to me, I wouldn't do what you're doing. I don't think I would cope. You know what I realized, that life is very complex, but it's up to individuals how you want to lead your life. Do I hang on to that pain, the stress, and trauma, or do I find other means to keep on living? To me, this is a second chance. So I just told myself I have to use this second chance wisely and in a positive way. So stories that I talk about, interviews that I do, it's all about the teachings, about motivating, that life is unfair, and as we journey through life, we meet these obstacles, of which there's nothing we can do about it. If it happened, it happened. Can you reverse it? Can you fix it? If not, you find something positive to live by. There's so many stories in different people, different families, the whole world through. But how you want to lead your life, you have to pick up something good out of bed so that you live your life in a positive way. Yeah, because you see how life is like today. And remember, even after COVID, people are shattered. So it's like a motivational talk, that yes, things happen, but you can still come out, in that pain, live your life to the fullest, but not forgetting where we are coming from. It's a constant reminder. It may be generational, but it keeps on reminding that, by the way, I am from there. Yeah, because when people they are trapped in a corner, what they do, they kill themselves. They don't even want to talk about their pain. So talking about pain, even though you never went for counseling, it's a therapy. It's like a healing therapy. The more you talk about it, the better you feel. That's what I've realized from all my talks. The more I talk about it, the better I felt, and it made me always be positive about life. Yeah. Anyone?
I'm just going to ask one of the questions that are here. Do you still have contact to the man that helped you carry your brother?
Ooh, that's unfortunate. The man who carried my brother, Mbuisa Makubu, I just saw him for that moment, and that was it. Otherwise, I've never ever seen him again. I think 2 years later I had to go and look for him, and only then I was told that, because of police harassment and of the photo, he had to leave our country. So he went to Botswana, that's what I was told. And while in Botswana as a refugee, he got a scholarship. So I had to go to Nigeria, actually, to continue with his education. Up to date, nobody knows what really happened to him. We only hear rumors, but we need something solid to share with the story.
So Youthday has impacted many others, but how has it impacted you?
Yeah, I never thought one day I'd be talking to people. Yes, I wasn't born shy, but I never thought one day I'd be talking to people, especially with that, what happened on the 16th of June. It started as an interview from different media. So I just took it lightly, like, oh yes, you know, the paparazzi and them and that, you know. I never thought one day I'll be talking, you know, addressing people about what happened on that day. But well, it's life, things change, so why not? So I don't know. No, sometimes I feel like, serious, is it me talking to people? It doesn't make sense, you know. But it's life. What can I do? You know, it's life, and I don't know how to put it. But you know, things change. You know, it's just like your dreams. You sometimes choose, you know, like, okay, I've got 4 goals or 5. If I don't become a doctor, I'll become a physician, maybe a social worker. But along the way, all 5 of them, they won't happen. Instead, something will come out from nowhere, and all of a sudden you are there, you forgot about all your goals. Maybe not even necessarily forgotten, but you find that it's better than all those goals that you have set it to yourself. It's something like that, you know. It just happened, and then here I am, you know. But well, anyway, the change was good. Even though I never finished school, only went back to school, I think, 79, 80s, just to write my matric. And from there on, I never went to university or college. So what I did, there were some short courses that were offered, so I had to do them because just to upgrade myself. Okay. I showed you.
Do you wish that you had done something differently on that day?
In actual fact, I don't think I should have done anything differently. Remember, as an individual, I felt like, yes, I should be part and parcel of the demonstration because I wanted change, okay? So we just felt like, as the youth, united we stand, then our voices will be heard. So for me, I was very anxious and also wanted to be part and parcel of the demonstration. So for me, that was something different, you know, to be part of it, even though we never knew that at the end of the day will be sad, you know, there will be pain. But for me, I just told myself, I need to put my name in that change. Yeah.
Now, do you believe that your brother's sacrifice gave South Africa the glimmer of hope for democracy?
Well, I would say 50-50. I like the 50-50 or half-half, you know. It takes me back to Mandela, you know, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther Jr. Like, I always question myself, up to date, you know, like, was it worth it for them to sacrifice? Was it worth it for them to die? Was it worth it for them to sacrifice their lives to change other people's lives? No wonder I say it's half-half, 50-50. Partly I would say yes, and partly I would say no. Can you really sacrifice your life for people to live their lives in a, let me just say, moderate way, like with no one harassing you, violating your human rights? Serious? Is it worth it? Well, it's part of life. You know, as we journey through life, we meet these obstacles. And at some point, they actually change the course of life. So yes, you may wish this and this, but if it doesn't happen, what do we do? But for me, even though, that was a teaching at the same time, that yes, there are individuals who feel like, if I sacrifice my life, people will live better. people would have access to almost everything, but, well, to me it's like, oh yes, partially yes, but what do we do then as for people who should be appreciating people who suffered for us, who died for us? Well, the world is evolving. Yeah, we may feel like, why do they have to suffer like this? Yes, it's a question because we are human beings. But partially say maybe that was a teaching that we must hold on to that so that we can actually teach other generations that you can sacrifice, it's up to that generation, if not you cannot, but taking a stand will also benefit us. So for me, like I said, it's 50-50. Well, yes, we actually need a change, but obviously it won't be 100%. Yeah, some of the things we'll complain about, some of the things we'll say, we have hope, it's a milestone, we'll be okay. That's where we are now. So I don't want to tarnish that because obviously we wanted people to live a better life and have peace within ourselves. Yeah, but well, things change. But I still have hope that things will be okay. Just like you as a youth. I always emphasize that, as a youth, you're sort of like reluctant to vote. I don't know why, but remember, we paved the way for you. So you are here with fresh ideas, fresh minds. No wonder we always want you to vote. Insist on you as the youth to vote. Because we need to see change. We've got fresh ideas, fresh mind, why not? And what I've realized is that the youth think that to change people's lives, you have to be a politician. For me, no. Anyone can do it. You don't have to be a politician to change people's lives. As long as you believe in yourself, you can change people's lives. With us, during the time, we never had social media. But think about it. If in one place there are plus minus 20,000, and it could have been more, it's just an estimation, with no social media, with you as the youth, in 1 second, whatever you write as a youth, a consent, I'm telling you, billions in seconds. You find the youth, billions of youth supporting what you are doing. So it's easy for you. And who is going to fix your problems? It doesn't mean you don't have problems. Who's going to fix your problems? As the youth, you have to change our lives. It doesn't matter where you're coming from, who are you, but you have to. Because now that we have paved the way for you, we rely on you as the youth. Don't be afraid of yourself. Take a stand in a responsible way. Because you cannot do what you want when you like, because you can. But being responsible, we can shape the future of our countries. So no one is going to come and say, no, I'm from this country, I've come here to fix your problems. We have to solve our problems. And as parents, we are going to step in your shoes. We both walk the path so that we can fix our countries. It just needs some boldness, be brave, and with your fresh ideas. And that's it. And what do you do about a problem that you have? Teenage pregnancy, gender-based violence, drugs. Who should be actually dealing with those problems? As parents, we will motivate, support, and always encourage you. But you have to take a first step. You are fixing your future and your children's future. So it's generational. You cannot run away from it. It's generational, whether you like it or not. So we really need you. Our lives depend on you as the youth.